Hello, everybody. Where'd Claire go? Claire, where are you?
I'm here.
Where'd you go? Wave again?
I'm here. I don't know if you can see me.
I can't see you. But anyway, hey, welcome. Hey, and thank you for showing up. And what we're going to talk about is thought and resiliency, or actually, it's going to be resiliency in the face of difficult circumstances. But the thing is, but both Claire and I understand that you got to take circumstance off the table. And you got to look at thought in you, what's happening in you. And we've got some really good examples that we hope you will resonate with and get insight from for yourselves.
Jeg trykker endnu.
And we also going to have question and answer, so you can ask questions, but we were going to talk a bit. So one thing I'd like to say is I want to introduce my partner, Claire, who is my thought hero, because her whole life has been faced with difficult circumstances, and she's profoundly resilient. Now, and she's going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk first about some examples in my life. So, where I learned this, my name is Linda Pransky. I think you probably know who I am. I don't know, maybe some people don't, but um, years and years, many years ago, many years ago, I ran across a man named Sidney Banks, and I didn't mean to run across him. It was so totally by accident that I met up with him. But he changed my life in so many ways. I mean, when somebody changes your life, you're just so grateful, and I have such gratitude for meeting him and listening to him and learning from him. But anyway, when I met him, my now husband, George Pransky, George and I had only been dating a year, and we were about to break up because we started out doing great and then ended up doing terrible. So when we met him, we were about to break up. But listening to Sid, I realized that relationships were about thought, my thought. And now and I realized that when people talk about a relationship, that's outside. Talking about a relationship is a concept that's outside your experience. Like you look out into the relationship. No. You look inside to the thoughts that you're having, that you're believing, that you're acting on, that are creating trouble in your relationship. You see? So it's like you go outside and you look at your relationship and you try to fix it. Wrong direction. That's the direction of circumstance. You turn around and you go and look at what's happening in you that you're believing, that you're acting on, that's causing the trouble. Like, for example, I realized that I was too critical of him. And I believed in that criticism and I acted on that criticism, and that created arguing. And that's why we wanted to break up, because all we did was argue. Now, see, when I saw that, when I connected the dots, that it wasn't him, it wasn't the relationship. It started with my belief system that I was onto something. I believed in my criticism and I acted on it. So I thought, well, what if I just dialed it down? Not completely got rid of it, but just dialed it down and kept my mouth shut. And instead of criticizing him, look to what I enjoyed about us. Look what I enjoyed about him. Now, that one thing, that one understanding about thought and relationship flipped our relationship from bad to good. That's simple. It's that simple. And we've been together for 50 years now, right? And we have a fantastic relationship. But I think, see, it's it's easy, and we've been taught to look at circumstances to inform us of our how we should feel about things. And so it's counterintuitive for you to, for a person, not just you, but for people, to stop doing that and look at what's going on within their own mind. Now, the other truth that helped me when I was learning from Sid is an understanding that now this is got to really listen to this, that the content of a person's mind, the content of your thinking, like an example, with content of my thinking would be my belief in my critical mind. That would be content, belief in my critical mind. What I learned from Sid, which really hit home for me, there's no truth in the content of your thinking. It's just your separate reality from other people. It's the separate reality that you live in. It's the reality that you make up and call true. In other words, there's no truth in a person being critical. It's not the truth. If it was the truth, everyone would be like me. Everyone would be critical, right? But there are people who aren't critical. They're just not. They didn't pick that up as a way of being like I did. I picked that up somewhere, that it was a good idea to be critical because you wanted to, you know, change circumstances. And the circumstance I wanted to change was George, right? So the understanding that the content of it's not true. It's just your way of thinking and how you've made it up for you. And then I realized if I made it up, I could unmake. In other words, I didn't have to believe in criticism if I didn't want to. Just like I didn't have to believe in have tos or shoulds unless I wanted to. I didn't have to believe in stressful thinking. I didn't have to believe in worry. I didn't have to believe in a lot of things. I didn't have to believe that if I was in a low mood, that was bad. So there's a way in which understanding thought allows you to get a perspective on it that protects you. Now, the other thing, here's what's very, 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 very cool. The less you believe in your thought system, the less you believe in your thoughts, the more you live in the feeling of resiliency. Because we have a resilient nature. We are resilient beings. We have another way of saying we have good spirits. We have spirit. You could call that resiliency, good spirit. Or you could, some people call it, this thing we have underneath the content of our thinking. Some people call that wisdom. Some people call it home. Some people call it innate health. Some people call it mental health. Claire and I call it resilience because we just like that. We like that because that feels true and real to us. Because I know when I realize I've gotten caught up in thought, it kicks me back into resilience. Does that happen to you guys when you realize thought, it kicks you back into the feeling of resilience? Is that true for you? Let's have a raising of hands. Is that true for you? Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, what are you doing here then if you know this stuff? Huh? So, what would be nice because I'm going to give some more examples and then Claire's going to come in and give some examples as well. But what would be nice? Um, what would be nice is that, well, actually, before I open it up to questions, we just, oh, here's the thing. I was having a conversation with Aaron Turner recently, and we were talking about this. We're talking about suffering and how really people suffer because they get wrapped around the axle of their thinking and they don't let go and they think it's real and they think they need to think about it. Okay. And then as soon as you realize thought, you get kicked back into resiliency. But the thing is, here's the thing, it keeps happening. Keeps happening to me. But see, I don't mind because I know that I'll get spit out of that, you know, what circular thinking or wrapped around my thinking or attached to my thinking. It will let go and I will go back into resiliency. It's just a matter of time because of my underlying understanding of thought. And I don't have to believe in it and I don't have to take it seriously. But sometimes I will. And then each time it happens, it's like a new experience. It's a possibility of learning something new about that. But it doesn't stop. People think, I'm going to learn this and then it's going to stop. No, because you're moving forward in life. You're moving forward in life. And you'll have circumstances that come up that you're not going to like. So the next big learning for me about thought, I had to go way deeper than what I did with relationships. It was like, after I had that understanding about relationships, my husband and I, all we did was work with people on the verge of divorce. We did that for a really long time, very successfully, because been there, done that. That was our understanding that it's relationships are created and maintained in a healthy way through the good use of thinking. But the next big learning came after my husband's stroke. Because then I got a circumstance that I really, really, really didn't want. And the other thing that I didn't want to be a caregiver. Here's my thinking. I didn't sign up for this. I don't want to do that. I used to be able to go and do whatever I wanted. I had total freedom. Now I'm stuck at home. I don't want to be stuck at home. That's no fun. Okay, here's all my thinking. Now, here's the thing. what if I took that seriously? What if I continued to ruminate about that, like thought it was a good idea to keep it on my mind? What if I thought that I could figure all that out analytically? You know what would happen to me? I would be bitter and I'd be depressed, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. Because when that content comes to mind, I see it as, well, I'm thinking this right now, okay? And I don't want to think about it. So I just goes off my mind and I go back into resiliency. Now, the other thing that's true is really interesting, which was a gift, is when George and I are together, and I'm helping him, it's so lovely and we're so connected and so close that it's just amazing experience of being in relationship. And it's not unless my mood goes down. When my mood goes down, which I know when my mood goes down, then I'm grouchy and I don't want to do anything and I'm like blah 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 blah. But see, that's just temporary. And the fact that I know it's my mood, it doesn't scare me, it doesn't frighten me. And I'll say to George, hey, Georgie, I'm in a really low mood. I'm going to be grouchy, okay? He says, no problem. Isn't that great to understand that, you're going to be different in a mood. You're not going to have really good thinking, but it's temporary. And then when you could say to your partner, this is where I am, it's okay. And they say, oh, that's okay. I won't take it personally that you're grouchy. You might snap at me or not want to take care of me. That's okay. I know it's just mood. So, in the face of circumstances that a lot of people find, it buries them. I mean, being a lot of people who are caretakers, oh man, they're buried because they don't understand why. But the thing is, here's the thing, you know, before before George's stroke, it was easy for me. I had easy circumstances. I had fantastic circumstances, right? So it was easy for me to, like, oh, it's just thought, it's just thought. But I'll tell you, it was very challenging to see it at first, to see it as thought. I was like, what? What? This is thought too? It was very challenging to face that, all of that as thought in me. So now, before we go into before we go into question and answers, I'd love you to hear from my thought hero, Claire.
Oh, Linda.
What?
Thank you. It's so lovely to be here with you and with the rest of you. Thank you for spending time with us. It's really lovely. So for me, because um, it was written, for those of you that don't know me, it was written in the blurb, so you might have seen this, but I was born with a disability. And so for me, being resilient has just been, I don't know, I can't even, I do remember when I decided to be resilient. And that was when I was 11. I remember that very clearly. I kind of realized that I had two choices, either to feel sorry for myself or to make the best of my life. And I chose, well, I didn't really think, when I realized there were those two choices, I didn't really think I had two choices. I really had one choice. So for the whole of my life since then, I've done the best I can. And the outcome of that is that I know, sometimes people talk about knowing, like I know this as a kind of spiritual fact, as a truth. So I know without any shadow of a doubt that I am resilient. And so what that means for me is that regardless of circumstances, and sometimes my life is good, sometimes it's not so good, regardless of what's going on in my world, I know that I'll find a way through. I know that I have the capacity to find a way through. And what we all know about thought is a big, big part of that. So state of mind, fluctuations in state of mind, clarity of thinking, and all that kind of stuff obviously comes into that. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. But recently, so literally this time, I'm in England. It's 7:30 in the evening and 6 weeks ago at this time, I was getting ready for surgery to have a knee replacement. My excuse me, my body has done a beautiful job of holding me up for almost 60 years in a way which it wasn't designed to do. And eventually part of my knee was like, enough. And it's been really, really interesting because according to my surgeon and the team around me, they don't have any comparables. There aren't people with my type of cerebral palsy who've had a knee replacement at my age. That's mainly because people with my type of cerebral palsy don't walk after about the age of 35. Now, I didn't know that until recently, but anyway, so so nobody can tell me what the outcome will be. And so in the last 6 weeks, it's been hard. There's been times when it's been really hard, and I've thought, oh my God, what have I done? I've made the biggest mistake. And there have been other times when I've thought, I'll get through this, it will be fine. And I'm so, so glad that I know about fluctuations in thought and that I'm able to go, excuse me, I'm able to go, as Linda said with George, I'm able to go, actually, I'm just in a really low mood right now because I've been in pain and I haven't slept well. And so therefore, whatever I'm thinking is irrelevant. That for me has literally been a saving grace in the last 6 weeks. And no, but even though I don't know what the outcome will be, so I don't know whether I'm going to ultimately be more mobile after the operation than I was before, but I know that whatever the outcome is, I'll find a way through and I will adapt. Because basically for me, part of resilience, what that means is that I'm adaptable. That whatever happens to me in my life, I will find a way through because I am, essentially my innate nature is one of adaptability. And it's a wonderful thing. And it's really interesting to me because sometimes I talk to people who don't know they're resilient. And for them, life is much more difficult. Because if you don't know that you have the capacity to adapt and to come through whatever circumstances, life is much harder. There's a lot more stress and strain. There's a lot more kind of thinking that you have to make the right decision or else the circumstances might not be favorable. And when Linda was talking about caring for George and it not being something that she would have chosen, actually very sadly in the news yesterday in England, there was a woman who was a carer who had been looking after her mother for a very long time and who had killed her during the night one night where she just couldn't take it anymore. And they were talking about that. So there are times when people just get completely carried away with their thinking, believe it and act on it. And thank goodness the three principles gives us the the ability to go beyond that and to understand that we are much more than our thinking in the moment. And then for me, a really big thing is the idea of the inner GPS, or the wisdom, or the quiet voice within that will guide us if we listen. So when I'm in a low state of mind, or have a feeling of not being clear and not being present, being able to recognize that and allowing my mind to settle down so that I can get more clarity. And obviously, well, for me, I don't know about the rest of you, but when I gain more clarity, I get new ideas, a fresh perspective, and solutions occur to me that don't occur to me in another frame of mind. And that is a really wonderful thing, because I know also that I can rely on that. So before I learned about the three principles, I had no idea about thought, and I took all my thinking very seriously, and I was often in not the greatest place. Nowadays, knowing that I can find a way through whatever is just, well, it was life-changing for me, because it means I don't have to worry about the future. I don't have to try and protect myself. I don't have to try and control it for the optimal outcome, which sometimes people do. I can just be me in the moment, doing the best I can, whatever mood I happen to be in at that time. And I know that it shifts, like everything's temporary. So wherever I am now, I'm likely to I'll get a different experience in the next moment. And that's part of the ebb and flow of life. And it's just a very reassuring thing to know.
Well, what do you think, Claire? You think we should open it up for questions?
Definitely, I would love to hear from people.
So we have a monitor, Jen, who will sort out your hands. And the thing is, here's the thing. No, honestly, I really mean this. There is no stupid question. There really isn't. So whatever's on your mind, have the courage to ask it if you think it'll help you. Okay, Jen. Jen, where'd you go?
Michelle, you can go ahead. I'll ask you guys to unmute. I'll just press that button and then you can ask your question. So Michelle, go ahead. She's just sitting there. Michelle, you with your hand up, would you like to ask your question?
She might be frozen, Jen.
Hmm.
She looks like she's frozen.
Okay, well, let's go to Joe then.
Hi Linda, hi Claire, hi Jen. It was just really a comment rather than a question I wanted to share, listening to you, Linda, listening to you both about caregiving. Because my dad broke his leg really badly last year. He's 84, and I was suddenly a carer overnight. And it was very scary, and he was really freaking out about it. And it was all the sort of do not resuscitate orders in hospital and things like this. And but I'm just reminded how beautiful it was as well. And I'm really grateful for the principles, because it was just that sort of daily reminder just to be present with him, and the simple things like hold his hand, and um, yeah, it was just that presence that got us through. And he told me he'd love me, and I think I've been waiting to hear that for like 40 years. And it was like, yeah, it was just beautiful. And what you said about, being with George at that time was, it has the power to be transformational, doesn't it? And
Yeah. Yeah. In other words,
that
like
was really,
after the after a stroke, a friend of mine, said to me, "Oh, you'll find the gift of the stroke." And I really wanted to punch her out when she said that because it's like, it just made me apoplectic. But she was right. There was a gift in it. And the gift was, just this incredible connection and closeness that we had. It's just profound. Yeah.
that was
And
it with,
the
yeah.
other gift is that I really had to really come to grips with, you know, my well-being is not dependent on circumstances. That was just, I really had to really got an education in that my well-being is not connected to circumstance. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
Hi, I think, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Um, I have been in this conversation for almost 2 years now with I believe you know Lily.
Mm-hmm.
Lily's house. Yeah, so I'm a part of her community online, and I just love her. I've been, deepening my understanding a lot as of uh, the past year. And I guess I just want to ask about what you talked about when you said it doesn't mean that it stops happening, getting kind of in that, spiral of that thinking. Um, because I've had just so many lovely insights and again, the deep understanding I'm so grateful for. But I think that I'm realizing, and especially over the last couple of days, I wouldn't necessarily say low mood, but I just kind of feel like I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be spit out now. Like you said, I'm ready to be spit out of that spiral. Um, and kind of been focusing a little more. I've been thinking about what I'm thinking about. Um, so maybe I guess if I could just ask, maybe for you to just talk just a little bit more about that.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Here's how to get here's how to get spit out of that spiral. You gotta accept the spiral and come to peace with the spiral and say, it's fine that I'm spiraling. I
Yeah.
know that's again counterintuitive, but it's like I realize that when you resist your spiral, basically you're holding it in place. I know that's true because I saw that for myself. That resisting your experience holds it in place. So the answer is to say in an extreme, love your experience and it'll run from you.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Um, which is, I think I hear this a lot. A lot of people get caught in this thought. It's a thought that once they understand the three principles, that they shouldn't have a varying experience. And my understanding or my personal experience is that actually it doesn't change my life experience. It doesn't change the range of feelings I have, but it completely changes my relationship to them.
Yeah.
So what that means is that I can be feeling really low and shitty and all that, but it doesn't impact me in the way it used to because I just know, I understand what it is.
Mhm.
And it's the same as what Linda's saying. I'm just adding to it a little bit.
Now, the other insight that helped me, um, that came to me because I couldn't understand why I would get caught up and stay there. And I'd be like, why do I stay here? And I had this insight for myself. It's a really funny insight. I had this insight that I'd only signed up for good experiences in life. So the fact that I had bad experience, I resented the fact that I had bad experience because in my mind, I'd only signed up for good experience. Now, where did that come from? Where'd that come from that I only signed up for good? I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, who did I sign up with? But honestly, I had that realization that I expected to only have good experiences in life. And when I didn't, I was like pissed off. What's the deal? I'm only supposed to have good experiences. And my way to having good experience was to understand the three principles. And if I understood them well enough, I would not have bad experience. Well, that's just not true. You get what you get. You get what, now that really helped me when I realized that I had this expectation that I could make it, so I only had good experiences. And when I realized that was ridiculous, that really helped me because I expected to have bad experiences sometimes. It's just the way life is. You have bad experiences and you go, so what? I have a bad experience. It comes and goes. A bad experience, it goes. I have a good experience, it goes. I have a mediocre experience, it goes. I have an amazing experience, it goes. It's just life gives you experience.
I love that. I love that so much. Both of those, yeah, answers are just so profound. And as you were both talking, I almost had a little insight for myself. I've been hanging on to something, and so I've been feeling this like tightness in my chest and this almost like shortness of breath feeling.
Mhm.
And like what Claire said, I can notice that and have a different relationship with it now, thankfully. But at the same time, like you said, be a little pissed off. I'm like, what? I have this like shortness of breath for like a couple of days and it's just bothering me. Like, I'm like, why won't it just go? And I'm almost having this insight now that like this kind of like this grab that I did internally to like whatever thought that it was that maybe kicked up the shallow breathing. I don't even remember what the thought was, but whatever it was, this internal grab, it's almost like the physical sensation of shortness of breath is waking me up to like let go of this, like you're you're holding on and it's like holding your breath, like holding on to this spiral is like holding your breath. I don't know if that makes sense. And again,
Total sense. Makes total sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to bring the formless into the form. So
Oh, but our feelings, our psychology, our feelings is attached to our sensory system. And if we have certain amount of thinking, we can really can really feel it physically. Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hi. I was um, uh, I was I was wanting to explore uh, the sickness of depression, and I had an insight about depression that was shared with me that was pretty meaningful, which was you can't cure depression, but you can treat it, and it's it's I think what I'm hearing is kind of the same thing, right? We all go through our whatever our challenges are, and we may be able to treat, but in terms of curing, whether it's depression or MS or um, uh, judgmentalism or whatever it is, not necessarily a cure, but a treatment, and that's to have a bigger understanding of it.
Now, here's the deal. That's true. What you just said is absolutely true, but it's limiting. You're limiting yourself. Because sometimes, in my experience of being in this understanding for 50 years, sometimes some habit that you think that you can relate to better, so it's not a problem for you, but you still have it, will disappear. It's cured. So sometimes you get the cure, and sometimes you just get a different relationship, but you don't know what you don't know what it's going to be. So don't limit yourself to you can't get cured, because sometimes cure happens.
May I add something to that?
Mm-hmm.
So I was, sorry. So in my early 20s, I was hospitalized for depression for a number of months, written off, told I would always be ill. Um, and that was a long time ago. And since then, I haven't had any other episodes of depression. And it's really funny to me that every time if I ever sign up with a new doctor or something, I tell them about my mental history, my history, and I say I used to have depression in the past, and they go, "What do you mean you used to have depression?" Like as if it's like a crazy thought. But what really, really changed for me is that when my relationship to my thinking changed, the symptoms called depression no longer existed. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen to everyone who has depression, because there's different types of depression. Okay. But in my particular case, and now I know that I will never have depression again. And the reason I can say that so emphatically and so resiliently, like you can hear the resilience in it, right? I totally know that, is because I know that my relationship to my thinking has changed so deeply that I will never think myself into that place again. And I know that it was my thinking that caused me to go into that place.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time as that, however much I sat there and thought, however much I sit here and think, I don't want cerebral palsy, I don't want cerebral palsy, I don't want cerebral palsy, I want to walk like other people do. That's not going to make any difference. However, how I view and how I feel about my cerebral palsy, which I do, and a lot of people do get annoyed when I say this, which I do see as a gift. I do. I see it as my biggest gift for spiritual growth. But that's a whole nother conversation. But how I think about it informs how it impacts my life. I don't think of myself as a victim. I think that I chose it. But that's a whole nother question. And that's a whole nother conversation as well. But this is all my thinking. It doesn't really matter whether it's true or not. It's all my thinking. And that thinking informs my experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that was really good, Claire. Really good. Did that help you? Our comments help you, Dave?
John.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think you meant to just talk to John.
John, yeah.
Or was it
Dave is next.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, I went back on mute. Um, it's one of the yeah, it's in the moment, right? It makes perfect sense. Um, but and the only you can't I know that I can't change depression in when I can't change depression by working on it when I'm depressed, right? That's the wrong answer. And so the only option is to pursue greater insight. And it makes sense, right? There's no um, nothing is not possible. And by saying something is not possible, that's limiting. So yeah, I know. I appreciate the thoughts.
Okay, that's beautiful what you said. And I'm going to say something in response to that because like I got I lived next door to my parents and took care of them when they got ill and they died, about 2 years apart. My mom went first and then my dad and they were my best friends. And after my dad died, I dropped into a depression that I couldn't get out of. And I was appalled that I got depressed because I thought I shouldn't get depressed because I knew the principles and like what was wrong with me. And I tried everything. I tried everything to get out. And it wasn't until a friend of mine, who was also a practitioner, she came to visit me, Kathy Casey. I think some of you know who Kathy Casey is. She looks at me and she says, "You're depressed." I said, "I know. I know I'm depressed." And she said, "Well, your problem, the reason you can't get out is because you're arrogant." And I went, "What? I'm not arrogant. I'm the least arrogant person I know," I said to her. And fortunately, was leaving. She was staying with me and she was walking out the door because she had a dinner engagement. And so we're having this conversation as she's walking out the door, which is really a good thing because I was about ready to get really angry with her, right? So she made that comment about my being arrogant and when she left, the penny dropped and I realized that what was keeping in me in my depression was the resistance to it. And the form of the resistance was, I shouldn't have this. I'm not a person that should have this depression. I didn't sign up for this depression and I shouldn't have it. The moment I had that realization that I was arrogant, and arrogance was in the form of, I'm too good to have this, to be depressed. I know too much to be depressed. When I had that realization, the depression completely changed and started to lift. And I was out of it within a couple days. And I'd been in it for 2 years. But see, I knew when I was in that depression, the hope for me, because I understood the principles X amount, I knew there was an answer. I knew it. I just had to find it. So I was ultimately hopeful that really helped me in that not going further down into a depression. The hope was there that I would find an answer, even though I was depressed. And I found it. With Kathy Casey telling me I was arrogant, I found my answer and it completely lifted. But see, so I love the fact that you feel like there's an answer for you because there is. And don't ever let go of that possibility that there's an answer. You just have to realize it.
Thank you.
Sometimes I feel really awkward telling you guys all of my experiences.
It's good though, Linda. It's really good because it's much more
I know,
personal.
but I feel, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think people just love you more.
My humanness.
Yeah.
So who's next?
I think it's me, Linda. Dave
Is that,
Coates.
oh, there, okay, there you are, Dave. I know you. I know you.
I was wondering if you remember me. I was at the retreat last
Yes.
October. I see Daniel McGrath there. I think he was there too. There may be a few others. As I've listened to the conversation, I think my questions keep changing, and what I felt compelled to say keeps changing too. I think where I want to start, and I'll try to be as quick and succinct as I can, is when it comes to depression, I was diagnosed clinically depressed back when I was in my very early 20s. At the time, I was in the military. I was riding submarines regularly, submerged for weeks on end, and I suffered the loss of a fiance during that period of time, and it just crushed me, and I couldn't find my way out of it. And fortunately, the Navy had a good psychiatrist. He was a lot of help, put me on some meds. We talked through a lot of things. I got better. But as time wore on, I got out of the military. I began to realize that a lot of what I experienced was that lack of resilience that we've all been talking about. And there came a point where for lack of a better way to express it, I just finally made a decision, a choice that I just don't want to be depressed anymore. I've got to focus on what I do have. I got a pretty decent job, and if I focus on that and start to build from there, I think I'll be better. And sure enough, things did get better for quite a while. Life always throws something at you along the way, and I've had my share of hurdles like everybody else. But actually about 30 years ago, the biggest hurdle I ever went through in my life was the loss of my son. And when you go through that period of grief, it's just very difficult. And what really compelled me to seek some further help, it was a lady who was a practitioner of three principles. So she has taught me a lot about that, and I've done a lot of reading. I've attended a lot of seminars and webinars, which they've all been very impactful. But I think the key thing that I've had to learn is really twofold. One is if you want to be present, it's all about letting go. You have to let go of so many different things. It's not just one thing, but things that trouble you, things that worry you, things that bother you.
Yep.
But the second thing is you have to recognize you have very little control over life. You do your best. You do what you can. You plan. You save, and things have tended to work out for me in that regard. I've really had very little to worry about when it comes to finances, that sort of thing. But what I also learned is that living the principles is a lot about letting go, but it's also a lot about simply forgiving yourself for being human and realizing that you're always going to have emotions, feelings, experiences that will trouble you. But if you really do try to embrace the three principles, which I think it is a daily effort, trying to recognize when you're being drawn away from your inner wisdom, that calm center, and just taking that moment to let yourself, I'll say, calm down, and I hate to use the word think or thought, but try to be more rational about how you're going to respond to whatever's in front of you. That has been very helpful for me. But I do think we all have to forgive ourselves just for being human. But in turn, you also have to forgive everyone else that you work with or live with, especially your family, for also being human. And accept that, they're going to have rough days, great days, just like everyone else. I think there's a question in there somewhere, but when people ask me to explain what is it that you've gotten out of the three principles, this is what I tend to say to them. I think I'm done.
Thank you, Dave. We have a bunch of people, so who's next?
I think I am, Linda.
Okay.
Hello. First of all, I want to say thank you to both of you for offering these things to us. And I have been in this conversation for a very long time. And I feel like I'm the exception. I know all the things, like, you have to let go, you have to see that it's your thinking, and I can see that it's my thinking. I I seem to know everything intellectually, but I can't seem to calm my system.
Okay, let me ask you something. Because I would have said that. I would have said you can know it intellectually, it doesn't help to know it intellectually. So in your mind, do you ever go into wonderment about, well, why doesn't it go deeper? Why doesn't it go beyond the intellect? Like what's in the way of it going deeper? Do you ever ask yourself that question?
Yes, Linda, and not so kindly as you put it. Like, I'm so frustrated. I've spoken to you before and on another webinar, and like, I have a daughter who got sick at the age of 12, and it changed the trajectory of her life and ours. And she's now 22, and there are lots of blessings and lots to be grateful for. And I am so stuck in this loop of grief and depression and nervous system dysregulation where I get feelings and thoughts and they just overcome, they just seem to take over. And I've worked with different people, but the only time I really felt something shift was when I read your husband's book, something about mental illness. I forget what it's called.
Well, he wrote, are you talking about The Secret to Mental Health?
Yeah, and mental health. Thank you. It was mental health, not mental illness.
Yeah.
And
Well,
first of all,
tell me about that shift.
well, first of all, I wasn't in as dark a place as I am now, and I find that when I'm this deep, nothing can really pull me out. But I was depressed. I don't know. I just heard, like, it's not that I heard something, it's that I felt something. Like,
Yeah.
for a day, I was like, oh my God, I think I'm healed. Like, I just was like, this is just a misunderstanding all these years. And then it was gone as fast as it came.
Yeah, but it's not gone.
Linda, I'm telling you, I've tried everything. I've spent thousands.
No,
and I
no,
wanted
wait.
to work with, and I get so frustrated. I need to say this because the good ones, like you and George, like, you have to have like thousands of dollars to work with you guys. How does someone like me, who really needs help from someone to experience, how can I help myself shift?
Well, here's the thing. Now, when I listen to you, there's a couple of things. One thing that occurs to me is like, can you listen without thinking? Is it possible for you to listen without thinking? Or is your mind just too busy?
My mind, and right now I'm really down.
Yeah, I know.
So
It's okay.
I have trouble, or even like somebody was talking about resist, like don't resist. You were saying you can't resist it. I get that. Like I am so in resistance, but depression to me is always the scariest place because I don't have control. It just kind of takes me where it wants to take me.
I
And
know.
so I'm traumatized by it. So
Yeah.
all I can think of is need to get out of this to be a mom and to be the teacher I used to be and the woman I used to be. Um,
What if you could just be in it and do better? What if there was just incremental change?
I would take anything.
Yeah. Like, what if you could just be in depression and be better? And what I mean by better is, um, hopeful, or, more, just more calm down about it, or more, um, I don't know, just in
Yes,
some better, huh?
I hear you.
Yeah, it's
And
okay.
I feel like there's a missing piece with the three principles, and I don't know if I'm correct, but it's like the piece of if you're really dysregulated and your system doesn't, like I've been in fight or flight for 10 years trying to heal my daughter and get help and all that. And I just feel like I don't know how to come down from that.
Well, do you ever listen to Sid?
Yeah, but I get so much more out of listening to you and your husband.
Well, what happens when you listen to Sid? Do you get
It
annoyed?
all
What?
it sounds so good and so simple, and I
Uh-huh.
get so freaking annoyed that
Yeah.
it can't seem to land. What is wrong with me?
No,
People lose children. People have
there's
worse
look,
situations.
look. There's nothing wrong with you. It's impersonal. Okay, like for example, when I was depressed, I had suicidal.
Me too.
Okay, but because I knew what I knew I didn't have to take suicidal thoughts seriously. And I'm like, hey, I'm in depression, and the principles are helping me in depression because I have suicidal thinking, and I am not going to act on it, and I don't have to take it serious. See? Now, and also when I was in depression, I had the hope and the knowing that at some point I could find my way out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like this resilience people talk about. I have no resilience. I was raised in a family with no resilience, and I do not trust myself at all that I can get through things because this is what happens when bad things happen. I get really down and I can't function.
Well, I think it sounds
May
like,
I add something? May I add something, Linda? Do you mind if I just
oh
add
no,
something?
go ahead, Claire.
So sorry. What I hear when I'm listening to you is that you're really scared and that you don't trust yourself.
I'm terrified.
That's what I was. That I'm just like I'm sitting listening to you, and and I was going to say you're scared and you don't trust yourself. And I remember, so I had 2 episodes of depression. The first one was over quite quickly. The second one was longer. The first one, I didn't know what the hell was happening to me, and I didn't know if I'd ever get out of it, and I didn't know if this was the rest of my life. And it was a really, really, really scary place to be.
Yeah,
This,
that's,
and
that's
then
my
I
fear is
did.
I'm never going to get out of this.
Yeah, I hear that. And you believe that so strongly.
Mm.
And
I've
the thing
tried
that,
everything. I've done everything. Like I can't, there's nowhere else to run.
yeah, but it's not about running. Because basically, the more you're running, the more you're saying, I can't. Remember being in that place. So I just so remember it. Because it's a kind of self-perpetuating cycle, or it was for me anyway. Sorry, I don't want to speak for you.
It is.
So the more scared I got, the more in it I was, and the more I
Yeah.
thought I couldn't cope with being in it, and the more I was desperate to get out of it. And the more desperate I was to get out of it, the worse it got.
Yes, it's exactly.
And so when we talk about, can I just, and then when I was listening to you, I was like, okay, it would be really good to bring this back to resilience. Okay, because it's very interesting for me that you said I was brought up in a family with no resilience. In other words, that wasn't something that was taught to you. We don't need to go into what was taught, but it wasn't that. But what Linda and I are pointing to is that resilience is innate. Like we as human beings have the capacity to adapt. That's part of our makeup. There is nobody on the planet who is not resilient. Even in neuroplasticity, nowadays, they're showing scientifically that we are adaptable. Like we are resilient as a species. So the idea that you're not resilient is just a lie that you believe. It's something that you've been told, a thought that you're holding on to. Okay. Everybody within them has resilience. They have mental health, by the way, one of the key things that Sid used to teach. They have mental health. You have mental health. Right now, you feel miles away from it. I hear that. And that you're really scared. I hear that. So I'm not dismissing anything you're saying. I'm just coming back to what I see as the facts about human beings. So I think human beings are resilient. I think their innate nature is well-being and mental health.
Then why can't I access it, Claire?
So if I was in your situation, what occurs to me now is I might ask myself the question, like one of my favorite questions when I can't see stuff, which is often, is I do two things. Sometimes I just give it up to something bigger than me and let an answer come to me. But there's also a question that I ask myself, which is what more is there to see about this that I haven't seen yet? But I ask that in a really kind of open-hearted way. So it's not like a kind of, I don't know how to describe this, sorry. It's not in a way where I'm expecting an answer, but I'm just literally opening myself up to something new, to a new thought, to something new. So given that we're talking tonight about resilience, and we're saying that human beings are innately, each one of us, there isn't one person on this call who isn't innately resilient and who doesn't have access to that resilience, okay? So let's say if you decided to play with the idea that that might be true, okay? If you stop looking in the direction of, oh my God, I'm going to be in this for the rest of my life and it's terrifying and there's nothing I can do about it and I'm a victim, I'm caught and blah blah blah. But you started asking yourself, okay, what if resilience was true? What if what they're saying on that webinar is true? Ask for some kind of insight about that. And then we had this other amazing thing, apart from the other things I just said, which is an inner guidance system. We have wisdom, we have an inner GPS. And so I would say that your wisdom brought you on this call tonight. Because I mean, you're here, you're showing up. Even though you've spent ages and ages listening to this conversation and you don't feel sorry that you've gained anything from it, your wisdom knows there's something here for you. And that's why you keep showing up. Anyway, so that's my
No, that's really good, Claire, because see, like when I first started learning this, it took me 2 years to hear anything. I had to show up for 2 years before I heard anything. So it's not about time, it's about hope and possibility and hanging in there and just keep showing up to stuff. Now, if see, to me, like if I were you, I would listen to Sid every day and I just get past my annoyance. I go, well, so what if I'm annoyed? Because the thing is, you don't want to listen to Sid's words. And he even says that, don't listen to my words. What you want to do is pick up on his feeling. You want to see if you can hook in and rise with his feeling. You want to listen to what he says. You want to listen to the space he's in, the feeling he's in, and hook into that feeling. And that will bring your spirits up. I would listen to Sid every day, whether I wanted to or not. It's like, for example, I take supplements. I don't want to take supplements. I hate taking supplements, but I take supplements every day. I go, oh God, I gotta take my supplements. I want it because I don't like swallowing pills, but I just do it every day. And that's what I think you should do is take your supplements, listen to Sid every single day. And
Yeah, and I was going to listen to the audiobook, your George's audiobook again.
or listen to George's audiobook every day. Just keep listening to that book. If your feeling is like that's what I want to do. I want to listen to that book. And you feel hopeful about the book, then listen to the book. Follow your feeling. And if your feeling says do the book, do the book. I mean, because I'm saying what I would do, which would be listen to Sid. But if you feel like, nah, well, you got to follow what makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So you follow what makes sense to you. Because see, you have common sense. Everybody has, Claire talked about mental health and and like Sid said to me offhand one time, we were walking into a room and offhandedly he said, everybody sits in mental health, whether they know it or not. Even people who are in mental institutions sit in mental health. And it hit me like a ton of brick. And I realized I'm mentally healthy.
It's so hard to believe that when you.
Well, it's not a belief, it's a realization. See, you're looking for realization. Do you know what a realization is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're looking for realization. That's what you're looking for. So it's like when you listen to George or listen to Sid or listen to us, you're looking for realization. You're looking for something to help you.
Yeah.
Like after George's stroke, I went down so low because I was so freaked out and so terrified about a lot of things. Who's going to run the business? Who's going to pay the bills? Is George going to come out of this? What's going to happen? How am I going to pay for all this stuff, right? Okay. But I knew all that stuff, all that thinking was the wrong direction. And so I thought, now here's my thinking, here's my common sense. What's going to help me? What's going to help me? And then I had this memory that came. Because Sid said to all of us, he said, you know what? Everybody's filled with beautiful feeling. All they have to do is go inside and find it. So what I did is I did that. I went inside and I found the feeling of hope. And that feeling of hope floated me through the first 2 years of George's recovery. And the feeling of hope lifts your spirits. And when you lift your spirits, your head clears. See, you get much more clarity of thought when your spirits are up. You could find a beautiful feeling in you that elevates spirits. It doesn't matter if you're depressed. You can go, it doesn't, see, there's no rules. There's no rules to this. It's what makes sense to you. Like what makes sense to you is to read George's books. You did that. But see, when I had all that horrible thinking after George's stroke, when I early tubed, I had the thought, no, wrong, I can't do this, the wrong direction. How can I be a partner in rehab if I feel unbelievably horrible and freaked out and terrified? And that's when the thought, go inside and find a beautiful feeling. You could do that. If I can do it, you can do it.
Feels so impossible and a beautiful feeling.
Well, why not? Why not? It doesn't have to be hope, it can be gratitude. It doesn't have to be gratitude, it could be faith.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be faith, it could be, I don't know, joy.
Yeah.
No, see, you're cluing in now. See, you're cluing in. See, you're cluing in. See, you can do this. You can. You absolutely can. And I know that. You know why? Here's why. Because if I can do it, you can do it. I honestly believe that. If I can do this, anybody.
I always just think people have different nervous systems, different resilience levels, but maybe you're right.
No, I mean, if you get the dysregulation is because you've just been in fear for too long. That's all.
You know, my body can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Well, that should be a motivator for you to go into a better feeling. See, it's interesting. Like I can't afford to not be resilient given my circumstances. I see that. You can't afford to be resilient in your circumstances. Yeah. And all resilience happens to you as you let go of thought, as you let go of fear, as you let go of and the thing is, it's not letting go. It's like if like for me, I went inside myself and found a beautiful feeling. Why not? So you're listening now. That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Claire, too.
Pleasure.
Hang in there.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Who's next?
Hi, this is Dan.
Hey,
Hi,
Dan.
Linda and Claire. Jeez, that was so powerful for me. I am in a pretty settled place today, and hearing Jean talk about her experience, it's amazing because I know it looks so different to me right now than when I've been in that place myself. Because it's so hard to see out when it's like right up against my eyeballs. Um, and I don't know if it means anything, but I can tell you I've been depressed and I'm not today. So that changed for me. That I'm just another example of somebody whose system was hijacked for many years due to active addiction with drugs and alcohol. And then when that stopped, it took me years to feel like I wasn't dysregulated in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I'm happy today. So, like, what the hell did I know? You know what I mean? I didn't think I was going to feel like I do now. And I didn't used to believe people when they said that. Um, I raised my hand because one of the first things that you said, Linda, about our separate realities, like realizing that none of my thinking is true.
Mm-hmm.
I I always paid attention to the thoughts that looked true to me. In terms of some thinking was right and some was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And what looked right was what I thought I should be paying attention to, because that's how I would navigate my life. And I didn't know anything about I was feeling my thoughts and not my circumstances. I didn't know anything about that. But hearing you say all the thoughts are untrue, it's just my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The question that came up for me is like, well, then what's the value of the thinking?
Well, the value of the thought thinking is it's our guide through life. And you have to find the thoughts that work. In other words, there are thoughts that work for you. Like, for example, brush your teeth. It's a thought that works. So, and the reason I say it works because it may prevent you going to the dentist and having a lot of dental bills, which would be nice. It's a thought that works. Now, I don't like that person and I'm going to go tell them that I don't like them is probably a thought that you wouldn't want to act on because it wouldn't work out. But if you had the thought to brush your teeth, that would be a thought that you could act on that would work out. So, in other words, you're looking for thoughts to act on that actually will move you in life in a positive direction.
Hmm.
But it's still your separate reality.
But it feels a lot lighter
Yeah,
described in that way than how I was sort of taught and learned to relate to my thinking, which was right and wrong, very
yeah,
judgmental.
yeah.
I brush my teeth because it's the right thing to do. And if I do it wrong, my circumstances are going to make me feel bad, you know? And I was operating in that way for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I still do.
Well, see, there's, what I tend to do is act on common sense, what I would call common sense, what just makes sense. Now, it's like,
Hmm.
but like there are thoughts that I have that I think are real, but it's like my disposition about that is that, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. When I come across a thought where I think I'm right, and that's real, I go, well, yeah, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. That's how I handle the thoughts when I feel strongly about something, I go, yeah, well, maybe, maybe not.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
For me, separate reality has just opened up my world in such a huge way. I became like, well, when I first realized it, for months, I became so curious about people as well. So I realized that my thoughts were up for grabs, but then I became really curious about other people, why they did things, what they were, it was endlessly fascinating,
Oh,
endlessly fascinating.
oh, yeah. Endlessly fascinating. Oh, by the way, it's nice to see you, David Patterson. He's a friend. I didn't expect him to be on this call.
Thank you, Linda. I just wanted to tell you, Linda, how annoyed I am with you and George that because even when I get upset with my colleagues and such, there's never a moment that I don't know that it's not real. And and so it takes all the fun out of being upset with my colleagues. And because I somehow know that it's not quite real. Anyway, good to see you, Linda, and I hope George is doing well.
He is. He really is. Yeah. We're in a stable period right now, which is fantastic. Yeah. I'm sorry. Daniel, do you have anything else to add? I kind of hide.
No, 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 no. I appreciate your responses. Thank you.
Oh, no more hands. And we have 5 minutes. What are we going to do? I'm joking around. I'm joking. Well, thank you, guys, for showing up. Oh, we have another hand.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry. We just had some time, so I just wanted to make a quick comment. I just want to really quick, I want to thank Jean for sharing and being so vulnerable. Jean, I've been in that space so many times, and I thought that exact same way. I'm never gonna get out. I'm never gonna get out. And I did and do every single time and see that all of the problems that I thought that I had, um, didn't actually exist. They weren't actually there. It really did revolve around my thinking. So I just wanted to make that comment and quickly to tie it in with Linda. I was in that space a couple of months ago, like a little over 6 months ago. I was actually in that space, and something was calling me deeper to the principles. And I have faith. I have deep faith. I have faith in God. And so something was calling me, and I believe that that was God calling me and the wisdom that God was giving to me. And so I reached out to someone that I saw speaking of the principles through social media, got into touch with her. She said she attended the Pro Train in October, Linda, with you and George, or she attends them. And so she encouraged me to attend, and I will now be coming this October, this
It-
year. And not only that, the call was so deep that I reached out to my grandma. My grandma lives in Washington, so she lives on the reservation, and she told me that she actually knows you and your husband.
Really?
When I told her that I was attending and where the location was, she told me that she actually knows you both.
What's her name?
My grandma's name is Linda Barnes.
I know Linda Barnes.
I'm her granddaughter.
Let's see.
So
Yeah.
I had to say that. I was in a dark, dark, dark place in the holiday time last year, and I carried over into the beginning of this year, and I do not feel the way that I felt at all. So I just wanted to say that to Jean, and there was a deeper understanding to everything, and there was also a deeper call, and I was being called somewhere, and then my grandma knowing you is just like, I was just, yeah, like, wow, how amazing. We really are looked after and protected, by a higher
Power.
source of love than we could ever know. And I just wanted to add that.
Thank you for that. Now, I want to add one thing for Jeannie. Where are you? Where'd you go? There you are. So there's a group that's run by Christine Heath and Judy Sedgman. That's, I don't know if it's once a month or twice a month. It's a group, very affordable, and they are really, really good. I would refer anyone to them. So you can reach out to Terry at Pransky and Associates, and she can steer you in the direction of that group. Because it's affordable for people, and they're excellent. And my advice to you when you join the group, be really selfish. Okay? In other words, take as much time from the group as you can to learn, right? Raise your hand, ask your questions. Be like you were here. Yeah. Yeah.
We have two more hands up.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you want to do.
Yeah, well, we can go over. I don't care.
Okay, thanks. Hello, Linda. So good to see your face and hear your voice. Um, my question is whether you have any specific recommended practices on how to strengthen the inner knowing and your ability to not take yourself seriously when you're so twisted up in it. That's obviously most important to realize when you're twisted up in it, but it's also when you're most blinded. One thing that is a reminder that one answer is maybe listen to Sid more. I've kind of got that on my little notes, but was curious to hear your thoughts on how to kind of keep that fresh and strengthening.
Well, I do the same thing that Claire does. I ask, I just open my mind and ask and get curious. Like what do I need to know? What could help me? Like I get clear about what I want. Like what's going on with me. I get clear, and then I like ask, I get curious about it, ask what would help or what for an insight. So curiosity and asking and then waiting. Not actively thinking about it, but just asking a question and waiting for an answer out of curiosity. Yeah, I do that all the time, and it really you become your own counsel. You become your own counselor. It's great. But see, you have to do it out of humility. It doesn't work if you do it out of insecurity. So really, you have to be okay with the fact that you're suffering or that you don't have an answer or that you have to be okay, feel okay about your circumstance or your feeling or your experience. You have to be okay. All right, so this is what is. See, I'm like, this is what is. This is what life has given me. I'm a little confused about how to negotiate this experience that I'm having. I need help. I need answers. I need something else.
May I add something to that?
Yes.
Which is, for me, all of that. And I also have to be willing to go beyond what I already know.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
to let go of what I already know to be true, to like put it aside for a minute and just really open up to. And also also, sorry, what occurred to me was, um, like I've been teaching this for a while now, but in the very beginning, I just used to go, I just used to listen again and again and again to different people speaking. And sometimes I'd go to courses and beginners courses, and people would say to me, "What are you doing here?" And it would literally be just because it was just really helpful for me to just keep listening.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like so many different ways to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I still love to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you really, it's, if thought is the only thing that's in the way, and thought is what creates the problem, then thought creates the solution. It's so simple. It's so simple. There's always a way out, always a way out. There's always an answer. It's just like you think about what's possible instead of stuck into thinking about what's wrong. Okay, so one more question.
Hello. Hi, is that me, Claire, Linda?
Yeah,
Hello.
Sorry, I'm in dark. It's my Sydney timing. I'm in bed. It's 5:30 a.m. Sorry about that.
well, it's
Um,
okay.
and I've been Linda and Claire. I'm very, very familiar with both of your lovely sessions wherever I've managed. So, uh, well, I was prompted here for another question, but let me keep it short given the time. Was Linda, you mentioned visiting the conversations with Judy Sudgerman and Christine Heath.
Mhm.
And I've been doing that for 3 years now. It's called Psychology Has It
Yeah,
Backwards.com in one
yeah.
word, Psychology Has It Backwards.com. And they're held every fortnight, like a Wednesday every fortnight, and Thursday, 7 p.m. every fortnight, and Wednesday, 2 p.m. So just go to Psychology Has It Backwards, look at those sessions, and just book there. It's very good, and the conversations are like fireside chats. So it's easy, talk your heart out, mind out, whatever, and we just get nudged in the right direction. So that was just something
For
I
that.
thought I'd chime in. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay, while I'm here, can I just very briefly, Claire, this was with Claire a long time ago with Gillian Fraser,
Mhm.
and I had asked about the hook of thoughts, like compulsions, like if I want to use a
That
term,
was
oh,
out in the deck.
sorry,
We got to.
hello?
Hi,
We-
that someone else was, that's right, they're muted now. Carry
Yeah,
on.
so long time ago, I was with Claire in the almond tree, which I love, but I think yours are very specific about children and disabled and all that. So I sort of thought myself way out of attending because I don't know whether I have those ailments or anything. But one of the things I mentioned, and I've mentioned that quite a few times, I'm feeling embarrassed asking again, but the compulsive nature of insecure thinking around a particular subject. So in scientific terms, you might call it OCD, but in this world of wisdom, what, how is it possible to just see that these are compulsive, insecure thoughts and let go because it's got nothing to do with anything useful? I mean, am I presuming the answer already? But anyway, yeah.
Linda, because Divyesh has heard me and Julian speak about this, I'd love you to answer.
Well, you have to face the compulsive thought that you think is an entity. See, I
Mhm.
used to have compulsive thoughts and I would see them as outside in, and they were an entity that would overcome me. And then I realized they were fooling me. It was just a big thought. Compulsive thinking is just a really big thought with a really big feeling. And I went, wait a minute. This isn't an entity. This isn't something that I have to act on, or this isn't the boss of me. This is just a big thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw that, I wasn't at the mercy of them anymore. But you have to
So,
see it you have to see it, not see it with your intellect, but like see it. Like, oh, this is just a big thought.
okay. Thank you. Um, I'm on and off on from that being, like sometimes I get, oh, this is just ridiculous, the same thing 100 times an hour. Or sometimes it's like, oh, I'm watching a movie, and then although I would pause half an hour in to think again, but but the but you just realize also that you watched half an hour without entering that particular insecure stream. So yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing is look for incremental progress, not for
Ah,
an end result.
okay. Thank you.
Because sometimes people think, well, I got to have the whole enchilada resolved, or it's not right. I'm not right. No, no. Just look for incremental progress, incremental understanding, and and relish it and be grateful for it and appreciate yourself for the fact that you had it. I'm better. I'm better. Right.
Hmm.
I'm not there yet.
Thank you. Thanks, Linda, Claire.
Lovely to hear your voice.
Lovely to see you.
Okay. Well, listen, I think we're going to say goodbye.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.